Greetings, salutations, and beyond Venu. My name is Joe Buscetto, and this is Memory Card News for August 14th, 2018. Didn't even have to look this time. Wow! What a big news day today has been. Let's just hop right in. First off, I want to talk about this Ninja story. This article came out this past weekend. I'm not sure who published it, where it was published, but I got picked up by pretty much every news site that Ninja Tyler Blevins, the huge streamer of Fortnite, streamed with Drake, among others, came out and said he's like, I don't want to play games with women. And people were like, that's a really weird fucking thing to say. Like, what? And, initially that just sounds very misogynistic. And so he came out yesterday with this statement. It was actually last night, I think I first saw it. And I'll just read parts of it. I wanted to take a moment to address the article. While I understand some people have implied my views mean I have something against playing with women, I want to be clear the issue I'm addressing is online harassment and my attempt to minimize it from our life. And he goes on in another paragraph. Having just celebrated my 1-year anniversary, my wife and my family will always be the most important thing to me, and I am doing my best to protect them. And I get that. You can never really chastise somebody for wanting to protect their family. But at the same time, you're just part of the problem, not being part of the solution. Furthermore, this kind of talk, objectifies women in a way that, they aren't people, and, you just kind of look at other streamers, and in this case, specifically women, as kind of like objects that are going to either, bring you more success or bring you more stress. And that's, really fucked up that you're so public facing about that. I don't know. It's just such a fucked up story. If you're so worried about your wife and your family, I think it's one thing to be kind of, protective in that way. But I think the initial arguments were that he was worried people would be like, oh, he must be in a relationship with this streamer. And he's like, well, I don't want to bring that on my wife. It's like, are you not that confident with your wife? You married her. You should feel that confidence in your relationship that you could fucking stream with other people and not have to worry about that. People are going to say shit, but you got to, be able to brush that off. I don't know. This whole story is kind of fucked up. And I don't know. What makes me really angry about this is that Ninja takes such a stance about trying to, fix the culture of gaming and, he's done a bunch of stuff for mental health and self-harm and things like that. And I applaud him for that. But at the same time, now you're just fucking screwing over women who have had maybe the worst time in gaming ever. You think the online harassment's going to be bad for you? Imagine how these ladies feel that have to suffer through this harassment every day. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, let's talk about something a little less controversial, I suppose. The Avengers project, that Avengers game being developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square. Crystal Dynamics has a new studio opened in Bellevue, Washington, and they are focused specifically on the Avengers. I think that's really cool. They kind of talk about a few of the people in leadership roles. And the new studio is called Crystal Northwest. Makes sense because it's in the northwest of the U.S. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I saw somewhere that it's working on the tech for it, which I believe means that this game is not as far along as we thought it was. I think that launch trailer that they revealed early last year might have been a bit preemptive. What the fuck is going on with my hair? Never control that son-bitch. Anyways, cool story. I think anything to just kind of know that Avengers game is coming along is very interesting. But now I'm starting to believe that this might just be a next-gen game. I have very actually very little faith that anything not announced thus far, like in a big AAA scene, might be slipping to next gen. I think Cyberpunk might be really the last kind of swan song we get for this generation. But that's just my predictions. Back to industry news. Patrick Soderlund, the chief bigwig at EA. He just got his title changed. Chief design officer is leaving EA. This story comes from Kotaku, Jason Schreier. This is quite an interesting story because Jason really takes like an angle of talking about like how much money he made and how absurd it is he's leaving. He made $48.3 million last year. What the fuck? Is your job really that bad that you can't suck it up and make $48,000 a year? He got a $20 million bonus in 2017 for him to stay. And he's like, all right, I'll take that for a bit. And then left anyways. What the fuck? That might be a good call for, like, I won't say a good call, and obviously it's not EA's call, it's Patrick Soderlund's, but they could take this opportunity to kind of change their dynamic, change their image. Not to say that everything should be blamed on Soderlund or that's EA's problems, but, in a time of change, might as well go whole hog. They currently have not announced who will take over the role of Chief Design Officer, if anybody, or who's going to fill Soderlund's shoes. And similarly, Soderlund has not been clear what he is doing or leaving for at the time of recording. So that would be interesting to see where he goes, if he falls somewhere in gaming or otherwise outside of the industry. So moving along though, Smash Bros. Fans uncover what Ultimate's mysterious mode is called. This comes from Michael I should read these beforehand. McWhorter. Over on Polygon, some peeps on Twitter have able to like unpixelate it, and they've been able to get it kind of in both Japanese and in English. So we're pretty sure that it is going to be called Spirits. This is very interesting. I can only imagine that this really has to do with the single player mode. And Polygon kind of talks about how a lot of the pre-release trailers, we just saw Luigi get graphically murdered by Death Incarnate in the most recent trailer, so that might have something to do with it. Plus, Mario and Mega Man died in the Ridley reveal, so maybe that's going to tie into it. But like, what do you think that mode could be? I really can't picture it as anything other than story mode, but that's still like a weird name for story mode. So I guess, granted, Subspace Emissary was also pretty fucking weird. So we'll just have to see when the game comes out December 7th. I really hadn't been as hyped for the game as much until this last direct. Now I'm like really ready to rumble. Maybe we could get something going, memory card fans. If you guys want to play some Smash this December, we'll have to check it out. Moving along, though, the story comes from Game Rant. Their last name. When I have to minimize this page, it doesn't give me their name. Denny Connolly, over at Game Rant, writes, World of Warcraft passes Fortnite on Twitch's concurrent viewer rankings. Not particularly surprising. Battle of Azeroth, the newest expansion, and the one I think that was geared most to getting old players back. Launched yesterday, so not particularly surprising that World of Warcraft is one of the most popular games being streamed and watched right now. The question will be how long that lasts. And I'm going to guess like by the end of the week, Fortnite will be back on top. But it's always cool to see kind of things pop up and down and, whatever it do. And our last story for today, just a real quick release date note. Bandai Namco has confirmed that Dark Souls Remastered for Switch will be coming on October 19th. This comes with the Solaire of Astora amiibo. This comes off of delays The remaster came out May, because it was supposed to launch simultaneously. This kind of ties into the story yesterday I talked about with Doom Eternal, and how I really want to start investigating more how AAA, I guess, these big games that are getting developed simultaneously for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch, like what the processes are and why this specific gap. But we'll have to see. I think this is a really bad time for it to launch in October. Everybody's still going to be crazy about Red Dead. On the Switch side of things, I can't really think of anything that comes out in October. I know Pokemon's in mid-November, then Smash in early December, obviously. But even so, I'm hesitant. I feel like at some point these games are going to start to buckle, and people aren't going to want them. I don't know. I should really write more about this, because I talk about it all the freaking time. But that's the way it was for I almost said July. That's the way it was for August 14th, 2018. I'm Joe Bruschetto, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Quick note, I guess. I'll talk to you from my home in Bangor. I'm going to go back there, do some camp work for a couple days. So, yeah, just figured I'd let you know. But peace out, Girl Scouts.